What's up, guys? Back with me here with the Foster Season 4, Episode 16, The Long Haul. Okay, so this episode starts off with Sharon and Will talking about their, their RV adventures, and even Will mentioned that he proposed to Sharon. And Mariana is like all on board with it. She's like, "Hey, you can hold the party at our house," but they're like, "Hey, we might be," but they're like, they're not busy, and they're like, we are busy with Jesus' therapy, and he's just like, "I don't want to go to it anymore." And they're like, he's like, "I don't want to go to it anymore," okay? So so basically Mariana's forcing them to throw the party because she wants to be the center of attention. That's what I don't like about Mariana this season. This episode, because she feels like her parents don't want to throw this, but she's forcing them to. So basically, Mariana's forcing them to do this. So yeah. So So Callie wants to go into art school, and since Troy Johnson will take the settlement deal, they're going to trial. Callie has to go to trial, and so AJ meets this new girl named Dawn, who Callie's like, "Hey, maybe you can date her when she's in women's prison," and AJ's like, "Callie, don't talk like that." And she's like, "Well, she may be going to prison," and so I don't. Callie's just giving up. Like now, and anyway. So Sharon says, "Hey, Will wants Steph to give him her blessing to marry Sharon, but Sharon wants her to say no to Will because she doesn't want to marry him. But she hasn't told him yet because Mariana is throwing this party because she's forcing everyone to be there. And she's like, "Hey, everyone, they're throwing their RV friends." So Brandon gives Emma's like, "Hey, he's just right. There's something wrong between him and her and Brandon, and give her this letter. Give him this letter." So he gives him the letter, but Jesus can't read it, so he gives it to Sharon. But Sharon reads all of it except for her being pregnant and her getting an abortion. So Jesus just says, "Hey," voice master saying, "Hey, we're all cool. I'm not mad." And Emma's just thinking, "Oh yeah, he just knows about her being pregnant. He's okay with it." But basically, Sharon tells her later at the party, saying, "Hey, he just doesn't know. He doesn't know about the pregnancy and the abortion." So Jesus and Emma are looking for their cards and seeing if they're close together, and he's just like, "I can't find them." But when Emma looks, she notices something by Jesus. So, and she's like, "Hey, Brandon, Jesus didn't read my letter." He's like, "He didn't?" She's like, he definitely didn't read it." And he's like, "Why?" "Because he can't read." So Grace is here in this episode, and she's doing one thing a day that scares her by her favorite author, and her first thing is getting up and doing stand-up comedy. So Brandon's like, "Hey, why don't you do stand-up comedy?" So she's like, "Yeah, okay." So basically, So Callie's like, "I think it's gonna rain," and Mariana's like, "Dad, you know that?" "No, it's not gonna rain." Yeah, Mariana's kind of being annoying. But what's typical Mariana? So Mariana, basically we were to our last episode that Emma was pregnant, that her friend was pregnant, and she was her BFF. I guess she's not her BFF anymore. Kind of calling out Emma on her secret Twitter. And it's kind of like Mariana's being, like, anyway. So So anyway, Sharon doesn't want to marry Will. And the reason why she doesn't want to marry Will is because she doesn't want to go through the whole thing. Is because she doesn't want to do what she did with Frank, Stef's dad. She doesn't want to marry him and end up hating him later, because that's what happened with Frank. She married him, and as soon as that, years, months, and days, as soon as she came to hate Frank and wanted to kill him, push him on a cliff, which is kind of dark. But yeah, so Callie and AJ, Callie is still obsessed with Troy Johnson. So AJ and Callie go to the surf scuba shop where Troy works. But AJ's like, hey Callie, you shouldn't be focused. You shouldn't be focused on your trials coming up. You should be focused on that, not some murder. And Callie's like, hey, maybe the only way we can prove that Troy Johnson was at work is if we ask if we ask Vanessa Martin. But AJ's like, hey Callie, you're not talking to anybody, and basically goes into itself. I get AJ in the scene. Like, Callie's got this trial. She cannot be focusing on some guy named Troy Johnson. So AJ goes in, going by some fake name, and is like, hey, can I speak to Vanessa Martin? She's like, Vanessa Martin hasn't worked here, but you can speak to her boyfriend, Troy Johnson. So he gives off some fake name, and now AJ's like, Vanessa Martin doesn't work anymore, but guess who does? Her boyfriend, Troy Johnson. And Callie's like, no way, she's dating her alibi. And Troy Johnson just comes in saying, hey, I told you to stay away from, bangs on the car, bangs on the minivan saying, hey, I told you to stay away from me. I'll call the cops if ever come near me again. Hear me, you two. And they just drive off with Troy saying, this is harassment. But how is this harassment? How is this harassment? Anyways, yeah. So Steph and Leah have filed for divorce. So filed for divorce, and basically, yeah. So they're filing for divorce, but Leah doesn't want to recreate that same day that she got married in season 1, episode 10, because that was the best day of her life. But she's like, we don't have to create that day. So I don't know if Sharon will get married, probably off screen, but Leah and Steph get married too. They get remarried. They were already married, but now they're getting remarried. So yeah, so AJ's like, so AJ last episode spoke with Ty in Ty's last appearance of the show, and Ty basically told him that he wanted him and AJ to move in together once he got out of prison. Which AJ, feels conflicted about because of, him wanting to move with Mike. And yeah, so he's like, why didn't you show me it? And it's like, we all talk about is you, Callie. And he's like, he's a black man in America with a juvenile record. He's in a rich family or rich dad or lawyers to buy him money. If he gets arrested, he's going down just like Ty. And he's like, I'll do anything for you, Callie. I'm not gonna follow you down this rabbit hole. You can tell her, AJ. She's on Team Callie, but for some reason I'm just on Team AJ, because Callie's whole thing of saying Kyle free is, okay, but she has a trial coming up now. She can't be worried about her. So yeah, anyway, definitely get married. Grace kisses Brandon, even though she said she said in episode 14 she had a boyfriend, which kind of made no sense. Maybe she lied, maybe she broke up with her boyfriend between episode 14 and episode 15. I don't know, but basically she's kissing Brandon, and he's like, what was that for? And she was like, her one scary thing for tomorrow. And yeah, and basically it's definitely get married, remarried, ending the episode. So I thought the episode was really good. Callie annoys me now because it's just like, she cannot let this go. She's got a child coming out. She feels like she's gonna go to prison, and AJ can date whoever he wants while she's locked up. And it's just like, Callie, don't go and get the bottom. Just think that you're gonna get out of this on the top. That's my thing. I want Callie to get out of this. I I don't want her thinking that she's just gonna ride this and stay in jail forever. I don't want Callie to think that. So I kind of agree with AJ, but Mariana was super annoying in this episode. This may have been an annoying Mariana episode day, how she was forcing this wedding on the entire family because she wanted it. Basically making herself the center of attention when the family said they had to stop. So Mariana's forcing it on our family. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe, look us out for a wonderful night, and I'll see you next, The Fosters.